Welcome to Lesson 1. Check out my website, socialstudiesgames.us. I'm Mr. D. You can check out this PowerPoint. The notes are on my website, and tons of games to help you out with studying for world or U.S. history. Now, what we focus on here are small ideas and big ideas. We do not want to get caught up too much in small ideas. Those are names, places, dates, events, facts. Those are great, but social studies is not about remembering these trivial moments and maybe someday being on Jeopardy and saying names. What's important is we take those names, those places, events, and ask why, or how does this guy change the world? Or why did they choose what they chose to do? How does that affect my life? How has that changed history? Those are the big things that we want to understand, because those are the ideas that will come up in your life. So you should be following along with the notes on my website, and we will begin. 20,000 BCE. I'm going to go real quick through the American Indians. I apologize to the American Indians. Originally, Asians will walk across the Bering landmass. This green area here, the Bering Sea, was covered in ice 20,000 years ago, and they're able to walk across. And the Asians walk across into North America and down through South America through thousands and thousands of years. They go further and further to different places. As they settle into different regions, they will develop different cultures, different lifestyles, different beliefs. American Indians that settle in the Great Plains will develop more of a nomadic lifestyle as they follow animals along. The American Indians may build huts and they may build teepees, or as you go to Middle America, the Aztecs will build giant temples and empires. And so it's a very diverse culture, and we just want to make sure that when we think of the American Indians, we don't think of them as all the same, as some of the movies in the past from the 1950s and 60s have kind of led us to believe. So there's your first Americans, and they will spread from coast to coast over those thousands and thousands of years and slowly change, evolve, and adapt to their living environments. One thing we also want to do before we get into America is understand, well, what's going on in Europe. The Reformation is happening in Europe. That's the first big thing. You can see here is the map of Europe around that time. Martin Luther will start the Protestant Reformation, and all of a sudden Europe will go from mostly Catholic to all of a sudden you have Protestants and Catholics, and that's going to create a couple problems because no one is very tolerant at all during this time. They don't get along at all. And so some people are going to leave Europe because they want to be able to believe what they want. Mainly Protestants or Puritans are going to leave the European nation they live in and go to North America for religious freedom. So those are going to be some of the people that are going. It's going to work both ways too, though, because the Catholics have just lost a lot of their followers, their base, as you would say. Obviously, when you go to church, you may put money in and donate to the church. The more people you have at your church, the more money your church is going to make. Well, all of a sudden, the Catholic Church just lost a lot of its followers because they joined the Protestants or became Calvins or Lutherans or the Anglican Church. So the Catholics are going to say, hey, we need to get more people into our church again. And so they'll send the Jesuits to America to convert the American Indians to Catholicism. Like I said, more members means more money. And also, you could argue it's the thing to do as a Catholic is to proselytize and convert more people to the word of Jesus Christ. So you're going to have Jesuits coming over and converting American Indians as part of this Reformation. But mainly, the big movement's going to be people from Europe trying to get out because they just want to be able to believe what they want, and they're running into problems because whatever kingdom you lived in, they told you what you had to believe. And if you believed in the wrong religion, you could be killed, you could end up in a war, and you didn't really have as many rights, so it was a problem. So that's going to lead to immigration. And you can see on here all the different movements of people. Another thing is this is the age of discovery. One of the reasons people are going to come to America is to make money. And at first, we can see what the main idea is. The Spanish are going to be the first to really set up shop in South America and the Americas. And their main reason, after they realize they can't find an easier way to Asia, is that they're here to get gold. They find gold, and so the Spanish are going to do that. The French and the English are going to say, whoa, we got to get in on this action too. So they're going to go to America. Now, they can't go to South America because it's already claimed. The Spanish have it. So they end up in North America. Problem is, there's really not a lot of gold along the coast here where the British colonies are set up. So they have to develop a different idea, and so they'll create jobs in an economy based around cash crops. That's where you grow plants or animals, and you do it purely for sale. You don't do it to survive. You're going to try to grow as much tobacco as you can and sell it for cash. So crops that you can sell in abundance for cash. That's what you're going to see along the East Coast. The French are going to set up on the interior of America, and they're going to work together with the American Indians, and they're going to work mainly in the beaver pelt hunting trade. They kill a beaver, they skin it, and you can turn it into a hat, which became a really big fashion statement in Europe. They were really hot, everybody had to have them. One of the great benefits to it is the beaver fur is naturally waterproof, so it's a waterproof hat. So that's the reason why and kind of where people are going to set up. The agricultural revolution is going to happen in Europe, and basically a lot of people are going to lose a job because these machines you see here are going to take jobs away from workers. Instead of needing 10, 15 peasants in the fields, now I got a machine that does it, and so guess what, peasants? You're fired. So peasants will move to cities and try to find work, but peasants will also move to America in search of jobs, in search of land, so that they can own the farm. So that's another example of people being pulled to America. Land. Those are big themes that still happen today. Why do people come to America today? Religious freedom, for freedom. Why do people come to America today? For jobs and opportunity. It's important. It's not so much important that we remember exactly the events that happened, but the big theme of why do people come to America? It's always the same. It's always the same pattern. Christopher Columbus. I know you're going to say, Mr. D, he didn't really discover America. I know that. He didn't even end up in America. I know that. He wasn't really first. I know that as well. But we're not going to get caught up on that because we want to be able to move along through history. We just need to have some events and some points and places in time to get us moving forward. And so we'll say, yeah, Columbus accidentally discovers America. He gets the ball running or rolling. And even if he didn't, who cares? Okay? We just want to know where's the ball going. We don't care who pushed the ball, who kicked the ball, but what's going to happen next? What happens because of Christopher Columbus? And you can see here when the legend becomes fact, put the legend. The legend is that Christopher Columbus did it. So let's just all agree on this is a legend, and it just helps us move forward. The big thing that's going to happen is the Columbian Exchange. This is going to be the exchange of plants and animals back and forth into different environments, different ecosystems. There will be good things that happen. There will be bad things that happen because of this. But two of the things that we overlook are the exchange of, well, probably don't overlook, but the big one is disease. Disease is going to be spread from the old world to the new world, and this is going to almost wipe out the American Indian population because they don't have the immunities built up. Obviously, Columbus and Europeans overlooked it because they didn't really understand it at the time. Another big thing that changes is our ideas. America today looks a lot like Europe. Why do we believe in the same things as Europe does? Why do we believe in the same social structure, family household, have the same similar economies, have a similar religious beliefs? Because their ideas came into America and those ideas spread. We today in America do not have an American Indian economy. We don't have American Indian religious beliefs. Why? Because the ideas of Europe came along with the Columbian Exchange and spread and completely changed the face of North America. When we look at what was America like for the first 100 years, it's a lot of just wild stuff. And there's not a lot in it. Some of you would be really glad to know that for this 100 years, 1500 to about 1600, there's not going to be a lot of names, places, about even to the 1650. Names, places, events, small ideas, doesn't really matter. And in your history books, you're going to be hard-pressed to find anything about this time period. This is kind of a forgotten time period. What's happening? Settlers, colonial settlers, and Indians killing each other, not getting along. Pirates are, as you see in the movies, like those Pirates of the Caribbean. You take out some of the Krakens and the ghosts and zombies, but a lot of that's what was happening. Pirates are robbing people, stealing, killing, plundering, pillaging, and then also it's wilderness. It's not like they walk into North America and there's roads and there's streets and there's farms. They have to build all of that. They walk into a forest and say, well, I got to cut that tree down. I got to cut that tree down. I got to cut that tree down. Where's water at? I got to find a waterway. I can't really drink the salt water in the ocean. So these are the things that have to happen for about 100, 150 years just to get America started. So that's basically the background. Some of the stuff that happens that does seep into the history books, some of the more notable events. Roanoke Island, as you can see here, the lost colony of Roanoke Island, is going to be the first establishment by the English. The first real attempt at a colony. It will fail. The people will disappear. They are gone. Sir Walter Raleigh sets this thing up. He leaves. When they come back to the lost colony, the colony is lost, and they come back and they see Croatoan carved into a tree. And up until about 1 year ago, well, maybe 2 years ago, we really had no clue what happened to those people. Were they killed by Indians? Did they move inward into North Carolina? Did aliens take them away? Now they found some documents that they believe that the settlers had moved into the North Carolina interior, off of the Outer Banks onto mainland North Carolina. It's a failed colony. Now, the next colony we'll talk about is not a failure. It is going to be Jamestown. This would be the first successful colony set up in North America. And the reason that they're going to set this up, why is Jamestown, and mainly most of the southern colonies, why do they exist? Why are they created? And it's to make money. Jamestown is going to be established in 1607. You see Jamestown, Virginia, not too far up from North Carolina. The colony is going to be the creation of the Virginia Company of London. It is a business. It's a company. It's a company in London who says we are going to set up in Virginia to make money. And a lot of thought, hey, we can go over there and we can get gold. Remember that idea of, look at all that gold in South America. Let's go over into the Virginias and do that as well. It doesn't really work out that way. And one of the problems is the company is filled with adventurers, and people are looking to go, hey, let's go get some gold, let's go maybe fight American Indians, let's explore, let's live our lives. Well, they go over there, and it's not really like that. When you come over to America, like I said, you got to chop down the trees, you got to build a fort, you got to build huts, you got to get food so you can survive. You need to be able to grow food. And those adventurers aren't really farmers. Those adventurers aren't really carpenters. They are adventurers looking to make money off of gold. They're looking for the get-rich-quick plan. And that's not what's going to work. That's not what they need. And Jamestown is quickly on its way to following in the footsteps of Roanoke, of being another disaster of a colony. They're starving. Everyone is dying. It is the wilderness. There are major problems. And then Captain John Smith will quote the Bible saying, he that will not work shall not eat. Basically, he will abuse the adventurers into, you better work, you better build, you better help us grow something, you better get it together, we're all going to starve and die out here in the wilderness. This is tougher than you thought it would be, get it together. Eventually, they will hang in there. John Rolfe will arrive, and he'll come up with the genius idea of cultivating tobacco, growing tobacco in this area. Do I have a picture of John Rolfe? Yeah. John Rolfe, and this is the story of Pocahontas, which you've read about. The guy I talked about before, John Smith, will fall in love with Pocahontas. He'll leave, and then Rolfe will actually take the lady. Rolfe will actually swipe in and steal Pocahontas. But they survive, they plant tobacco, and they start to make money. Woohoo! Awesome, great. We're not another lost colony of Roanoke. And you can watch several movies. You can watch the legends of Pocahontas. That's kind of the smaller stuff. We want to think about the bigger idea. And what we're concerned with in terms of Jamestown is really two ideas. Making money, but the other one is going to be government. When they come over here from England, they are going to create a charter. A charter is basically a document. It's like a mission statement. It's a plan for what's going to happen. It's called the Charter of the Virginia Company of London. And it's an agreement, too. You can look at it that way. So basically, this charter is going to tell those adventurers and those Englishmen, all right, you're going to go over to the New World. But just because you're in a new world, you're not going to lose your rights. You get to retain your rights. All the rights you have in England, you'll have those over there. Like the right to a jury trial, the right to vote, the right to hold property, the right to due process. We cannot just kill you. You have rights. So this will be the first time a document in history will say, you know what? Americans, these will be Americans having rights. And obviously we still follow that today. So when you look at the Charter of Virginia coming out, this is going to be the first written document in American history that guarantees rights to its citizens. And that's going to set a precedent or set an example for the future of America. We don't need to know about it being first, but we need to know now, look what it's going to cause. Look at the waves that are going to form because of this. The idea now that everyone comes into America, you should have rights. The second thing it's going to set up is it's going to establish a representative government. It's going to allow the people of Jamestown to elect their leaders. They get to pick representatives that will vote for them. They have a say in government. So not only do you have rights, but you also have a say in government. This will be the first representative government, representative democracy in American history. This is also going to set the standard.